Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to start a little reading project, and I want to do another version of the ultimate booktube video. I did one of these last year where I went to a bookstore, I bought a book, I read the book, and then I reviewed it for you. And this year I want to do something similar because it was so much fun doing that last year. But this year I want to do a library edition because I just don't feel like buying a book right now, but I definitely want to go to my library and see if something speaks to me. Now, I do have one book on hold right now that I could read, but I still want to go into my physical library and see whether anything calls my name. Now, I want this to be a little bit on the shorter side because I'm reading a very big fantasy series right now, and I just want this to be a little break before going into the next big fantasy book in that series. So we'll just see what we will find. I hope this will be a cute, fun vlog where I can take you along on this little reading adventure. And yeah, let's just see how it goes. I think the fascination for me, this is something I like to do as a reminder of why I want to reach a zero TBR, because I think this feeling of just getting a book that you're really excited about in the moment and start reading it right away is so fantastic. And so I want my TBR to be small so I can have these moments all the time basically, and not have these 40 books stacked in my shelves that are waiting to be read and making me feel bad about that. That's what we're gonna do, so let's go. So I have these books that I want to put in the little free library next to the library. We'll see whether that works out. And then these two books will go back to the library. I've read this one, wasn't the biggest fan, 3.5 stars. Still have not managed to read this one, but one day I might. Please ignore if I look a little bit disheveled. It is warmer than I thought today. So I'm feeling the heat right now, but it is time for the haul portion of this video. So I picked up 4 books from the library, which is ridiculous because I only really have time to read one. But we're gonna go through these. I want to start out with the first one I pulled from the shelves, and that was Cleat by Meryl Wilsner. This is pretty much something I never read. This is a sports romance. No, I do not read romance, and I don't think I've ever read a sports romance before, but this one is sapphic, and that is kind of the thing that pulled me towards this, because if I ever try a sports romance, then I think it should be a sapphic one. And the tagline of this is "Nothing's sexier than playing hard." And I do agree, kind of. So we'll see. In this one, we follow a girl called Grace and Phoebe. It's 2 girls. I think the first chapter I started starts out with Phoebe as she gets a call to be invited to train with the women's national team of the US, and I think this is about soccer, just going from the cover. Now, don't quote me on anything I say about sports, but yeah, we're meeting Phoebe and her brother. Her brother seems to be trans as she gets this call in the first chapter. I did a little bit of a first chapter challenge while I was in a little cafe to get a feel for all of these books and decide which one to read. Then the next one I pulled off the shelf, I think, was This House is Haunted by John Boyne. This is a historical fiction ghost story, and we follow a young girl called Eliza. And in the beginning of this book, we see her with her father, and the father is reading a newspaper, and he sees that Charles Dickens is coming to their street and he's doing a reading. And I love that the first sentence of this book is, "I blame Charles Dickens for the death of my father." And I don't know, that's kind of funny but also kind of intriguing. I think I will keep this book for October, hoping that no one else will request it while I have it. I did really enjoy the atmosphere of that first chapter, but yeah, I think I wanna save it. I think I want to save it. Then I pulled out The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine. This I have seen a little bit on Booktube when it came out, which should have been last year or maybe 2022 or something. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng. So this is a book about motherhood, and we meet a woman called Frida who is Asian American, and I think this is set in America. I'm actually not quite sure. But we meet her when she gets a call that her daughter was found by officers because she was not supervised. I don't know how you say it in English, but basically they found this little girl without anyone supervising her, and so they're calling Frida the mother. And yeah, I think this is about taking away children from mothers who are not deemed good enough. So in that sense, it really reminds me of Our Missing Hearts. It also has a little blurb down here which says, "Will resonate with fans of Celeste Ng's Little Fires Everywhere." So the connection is kind of there. I did like this little first part that I read. The chapters seem to be quite long, but yeah, I don't know if I'm in the mood for this right now. And then last but not least, in the YA section, I found The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie. And this one I had heard quite a lot about. This is about a girl who sacrifices herself to the sea god because she wants to save her brother and his beloved, basically. Because the girl that her brother is in love with is supposed to be the sacrifice for the sea god, and so our main character goes in her stead. And I don't know, I just feel this one. I really just do. So yeah, if we decide between these three, I think I want to go with this one. It's kind of ridiculous because I'm reading so much fantasy and now I got so many different genres. 3 genres I love. We have fantasy, kind of horror, historical fiction, and literary fiction, which are my most read genres. And then also a little bit of an outlier with a romance. And still, I feel like reading the fantasy, which is, you know, whatever. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with this one for now and we'll see how it goes. So far I've only read the first chapter, so there's a lot more to go, and I'll update you again in a little while. So I am now halfway through my pick, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, and I wanted to give you a quick update. In this book we're following a young girl called Mina. She's 16 years old when her brother is on a boat with his beloved, and this girl that her brother is in love with is supposed to be sacrificed to the sea god. But our main character wants to save her brother, and because of that she kind of throws herself between them, and so she gets taken to the sea god herself. When she gets there, things are not quite what she expected. First of all, there's this mist, and then she sees that she has this like red ribbon that represents her fate. So she follows that ribbon to the palace of the sea god, and when she's there she meets 3 weird young men who basically steal her soul. So that is kind of the setup of this book, and now she is in this new environment in this town of the sea god. The sea god seems to be asleep or withdrawn or under a curse, something like that. And so the reason why the world of our main character is so threatened by the sea and there is no protection from the gods is because the sea god kind of is in this state, whatever it is. And our main character decides that she wants to try to get her soul back, and then she wants to try to wake up or uncurse or whatever the sea god. And while she's doing that, she meets another person. We don't really know what he is quite, and we have a romance between her and that person. So I thought going into this the romance would be with the sea god. It is not, it is someone else. And so we have this mystery as well of who this person actually is, which is quite intriguing. Now, I do love the whole idea of a romance between a human girl or woman and kind of like a eternal being, let's just say it like that. I love that trope. It's one of my favorites when I read romance, so this is definitely the right direction for me. But I must say, this is a YA novel, and I knew that going in. I got it from the YA section, so I was prepared for that. But still, when I read this, I just can't shake the feeling that I would love this story more if it wasn't YA. It's just that if you want to kind of sell me these like eternal beings that all turn out to be boys in puberty, I don't know, it just doesn't quite work for me personally. So yeah, when she gets there, the sea god looks like a boy of her age, and these other boys she meets are kind of her age, and even though they are like eternal, I don't buy it. And honestly, if I was a god, I would not choose my like 70-year-old self. 17-year-old self. Also not my 70-year-old self, probably. I would probably choose my like 29 or 28-year-old self to represent me for all of eternity, you know, if I had the choice. So that's just something that is kind of bothering me personally as a reader. And as I said, I knew going into this that it was YA, and it's pretty much written like a YA. It is very fast paced, it is entertaining, so I definitely think it is a fun read. It's just that this one little thing that keeps nagging me in the back of my head. And then also we meet another goddess, and she's not a teenager. So I'd assume the other eternal beings also wouldn't have to be teenagers. So that's just my thing. But apart from that, I think that the way this is kind of entrenched in like folklore and legends is very beautiful. I always love reading about gods. It's one of my favorite things. And this is not like a meddling gods trope in a way, because we do see that these gods have withdrawn from the humans, and they're actually not meddling at all, but that is the issue. So it's kind of turning something I love reading about on its head a little bit, and I do love that very much. I also think that the atmosphere of this world is very interesting. We have a main character who comes from a very small village, and we see when she gets to the sea god city, which is definitely a city, like so many like spirits dwell there, that she's quite overwhelmed at the beginning, but also she has some people on her side who are trying to help her. Again, we have some mystery surrounding who these people actually are. They seem to be spirits, but there is some sense of mystery of like, why are they helping and stuff like that. So there's definitely some intrigue in this. I think going into the second half now, the romancy part will probably play a bigger role. We'll see about that. It's very much trying to build like an enemies to lovers kind of romance, which we're all a little bit wary about, especially when it comes to YA, because like two teenagers, how much enemy can they be, honestly? But they definitely don't get along, but there is like the fate thing that connects them. So yeah, I'm intrigued to read the rest of this. I hope you got a little bit of a glimpse into what you can expect from this book so far, and I'll be back with my final thoughts. So we have come to the end of this video, because last night I finished reading The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie, and I must say, while at the halfway point I wasn't quite convinced how much I would like this one, the second half definitely sold this for me. The ending is just very emotional, very bittersweet, and there's just some things that you expect while you read the book that then get revealed that I thought were really just touching, and I had some tears in my eyes. And yeah, I just really liked how it all came together, how there were a couple of things you can kind of guess from how the book is going, but when they get revealed, it doesn't feel like, ugh, the main character isn't seeing what's right in front of her. It's not like that. It's just that you have this like inner feeling and then it gets revealed and you're like, ha, I knew it. So I did really enjoy that about the book, and I enjoyed Mina as a main character. She is quite headstrong, but she still has the time and the mindset to listen to others, to figure out what's going on. I think she's very smart, and even though she has this like very clear goal, she doesn't it doesn't take her over. She's still herself in a way, and I really enjoyed that in her character. I think just the whole magic of this city that we're in with our main character is really beautiful. The themes of family, of home, of love, and just protecting what you love are very strong in this one, which I really enjoyed. And just overall, it's a really, really beautiful story, and the cover matches it quite well. I just really like looking at this cover. I know this book has a ton of beautiful covers, but this one is also, it's just so stunning. It really is. So I'm really glad I chose this book. In the end, I gave it 4.5 stars. The only thing I would say is that if this would have been a longer adult book, we could have explored the themes probably a little bit more. We could have built those relationships a little bit more. I think the author does a great job of getting quite emotional bonds between these characters in a very quick time. We don't really see them formed so much, but when these moments happen, we can still see the connection. It's definitely there, but we just don't really see the development in a way that I would have really loved. So yeah, it's not quite a new favorite, but it is definitely a stunning book, and especially for just the length of the book, I think the author does amazing things here. So this would be my ultimate booktube video 2024. I hope you had fun watching. Definitely let me know if you would have chosen one of the other books I have shown, or whether you would have gone with this one as well. I hope it inspired you to pick this book up, because I think it is really, really great. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye!